Mikayla Nogueira is a TikToker known for scamming her audience, blatant false advertising,
and I'm not sure anyone's gonna ever be able to compete with this mascara.
Faking her accent,
and I am standing in the Fisher Student Center,
lying about her use of filters and Photoshop, and more recently, making content out of a recovering addict. Seems like a relatively trustworthy person to me. But before we talk about that, I just want to say big ups to all of you showing love to the new lighting setup. For this video, I've upgraded the audio in a similar manner for those who have noticed, so hopefully you're a fan of that. Be sure to subscribe to the channel, because if you don't, I will ascend from the gates of heaven and drag you down to hell, where you belong, for not subscribing to the channel. Anyway, this video was originally going to be about Mikayla Nogueira's exploitation of her husband's drug addiction for views and TikTok money, but as I started researching into this woman, I found so much that I figured I might as well make a deep dive on some of the past controversies as well. Because for those unaware, this latest dud from her is not her only crime by any means. And to really understand the present and the future, I believe that it's important to look back on the past. So let's have a look at Mikayla Nogueira's overuse and lies about the filters and Photoshop that she uses regularly.
For lunch with friends, and I figured I could do a little OOTD because I absolutely love this dress from Revolve. It is denim, and it is such a nice shade of denim. It has pockets.
So at first glance, I'm sure you're wondering, as you've watched this, if you don't know who this woman is, why are you showing me? This is like a completely normal OOTD on TikTok. There's nothing wrong with it. Why are you showing me this? Well, it's videos like this that have caused some of the most controversy amongst her community, because it's very much speculated that in videos like this, as well as any other video on her TikTok, there is a heavy usage of filters that she is not being honest about to mislead her audience. For example, if we look at these pictures taken a week before this TikTok at different events, and then compare it to the TikTok itself, there is a noticeable difference. Now, at first glance, the difference isn't so noticeable in my opinion. This is what I was thinking when I first seen it. It's not such a noticeable difference that I have to accuse her of using filters and Photoshop and whatever, right? It could just be a bit of makeup, a bit of lighting, a bit of angles, right? It genuinely could be that. But the more you look into this woman and her, like, blatant use of filters, some of them are hilarious, by the way, you come to realize that, in all likelihood, every video uses filters. I'll show you a bit more of an obvious one now, just so that we're on the same page. If we look at this video, for example, there's a very obvious filter that actually, like, sort of failed and missed her arm a little bit, because this girl hasn't limited the filters that she uses to her face, so she uses, like, body filters as well, which have become a lot more popular recently. This here is an example of the type of filter that Mikayla could be using, although we don't know the exact one, but as you can see, they're pretty damn convincing nowadays. Like, it's quite terrifying. And look, in and of itself, if this was the only crime that she did, and, you know, she was open about it, and there were no sort of misleading advertisement at any point, it'd be fine, right? You can use filters all you want, whether it be to the face or the body, you can do what you want. The issue comes with her making the claim time and time again that the only thing that changes her appearance in these videos is lighting and angles. Like, she has vehemently denied ever using filters at any opportunity, whether it be on her face or her body, despite screenshots like this just very obviously proving that to be wrong, because, like, this is like some baked bean filter. It is actually quite sad to see someone lie this much about the filters that they use, because it's just a blatant showing of their lack of confidence, which is why, in my opinion, it's important to take care of yourself, because if you look good, you feel good, and if you feel good, you look good. So change your bed sheets every 2 weeks or so, because your skin will thank you for it. And you know what? Every time you go out, spray a little bit of perfume on yourself, because people notice that type of thing, even if it is just subconscious. Now, granted, I understand that stuff like perfume can get a little pricey, especially in this day and age, but luckily, the sponsor of today's video can help you out with that. This video is sponsored by Scentbird. Scentbird is a fragrance subscription service that allows you to try huge popular fragrance designer scents like Prada and Versace, as well as more niche indie brands without having to spend your entire paycheck on a $300 bottle that you might end up hating in a week, which my ADHD brain does a lot. Instead, you get 1 month's worth of perfume monthly, so it's way more affordable and convenient, especially because that first bottle will only cost you $8 and the subsequent ones will only be $16.95, which apparently is as cheap as like half an egg over in America. This month I tried 4 of them out, but 2 of them really stood out. First up, Joe by Joe Loves. This one smells like you're about to walk into a super clean, super expensive boutique sort of place, and it's got some zest to it that I enjoy. Like, it's super citrusy, if that makes sense. I'm not sure if wearing it to Weezer concerts, which I probably will end up doing, is what Joe Loves had in mind, but that's what they're getting and they need to deal with it. Then there's Daisy Oh So Fresh by Marc Jacobs. This one surprised me because I've always heard of Marc Jacobs, but I've never used their products before. But if you could turn like a Hosier or a Phoebe Bridgers into a scent, this would be it. Strong notes of plum and raspberry in this one. I don't even like plums, and I still ended up loving it. I also tried Gucci Guilty Porum, which is pure leather jacket energy, but in the best way possible. Just a precaution, by the way, apply the fragrance to the pulse points, so the wrist, the neck, the back of the ears. Those spots radiate heat and help the scent spread naturally throughout the day. And please, whatever you do not rub your wrist together. I see so many people doing this, and it annoys us to no end. All you do with that maneuver is crush the top notes into dust, and frankly, you deserve better. So if you want to build a fragrance wardrobe without committing to a 3-figure gamble every time you try one out, then I would strongly recommend that you give Scentbird a shot. Right now, if you use my promo code Dankyjabo or scan the QR code that's on screen, you'll get 55% off of your first month. Alright, back to the video.
I take photos with angles that I feel are flattering to me as a larger woman, and if that bothers you, it's not my problem. I don't want to take pictures like this, okay? I'm happy to take photos with my supporters in public, and I'm not gonna be posing to look snatched in those pictures. I'm gonna look like my average self. When I take fucking pictures for Instagram or TikTok or whatever, I'm gonna pose in a way where I feel comfortable, where I feel beautiful. So it's just exhausting.
See, that would be totally fine and understandable if, you know, it was true. But the issue with lying about this sort of thing is that all it does is feed into the insane beauty standard that everyone's complaining about nowadays, for good reason, by the way. I mean, I don't mean to be pedantic here, but the person screen recording this video is getting a notification for a weight loss plan. Like, there's a lot of people who watch Mikayla's videos that really care about this sort of aspect of their life, and they're getting wrong information from her, or a misleading presentation of what she actually looks like. Which would be fine if she was open about the usage of filters. It's just the lying that I have an issue with personally. Especially because now that she's promoting beauty products, having filters can easily be seen as false advertisement. In my opinion, it's comparable to fitness or gym influencers lying about them being on steroids. Not exactly the same, but comparable for sure. There are a bunch of pictures that just show how different she looks inside her TikToks and outside her TikToks. And just for full clarity, I will be using the Mikayla Nogueira Reddit for a lot of the things that we look at in this video, and I just want to get this out the way first of all. The Reddit surrounding this woman is like no better than a bunch of other ones that surrounded one specific person in terms of like toxicity. If all it was showing information, having wee conversations about things that annoy them about, you know, the stuff that she does that can be deemed immoral, that'd be all well and good, but comments like the ones on these posts are just insane. I'm not gonna go too deep into it, but I don't know. For this one, for example, there's the only thing that looks the same as her ridiculously awful lips. Be nice. I didn't say that. I'm reading a comment. I'm about to chastise that comment. See, it's comments like that that just confuse me, bewilder me, and annoy me, because has it not occurred to you that maybe the reason she feels the need to use these filters is because of arseholes like this body shaming her, calling her an ugly freak? When if you look at her in like pictures with fans or just pictures where she's out and about and there are no filters being used, she looks totally fine. She just looks like a normal woman. There's nothing wrong with the way she looks at all. And even if there was, there'd be no reason to do filters and lie about having to use them. If you want to take pictures of the most flattering angles possible and use all the filters in the fucking universe, and you're open about it to your millions of followers who you influence every day, that's totally fine. And it is strange because at the bottom of all of this, it is a sad story of someone who feels insecure about themselves and feels they need to use these filters to hide how she actually looks. And that is sad. You have to have some empathy there. But at the same time, you have millions of people who tune into you every day. You do have somewhat of a responsibility to be honest to them about this sort of thing, especially when other people are involved, which I'll get into later, but she photoshops pictures of herself when she is with other big celebrities and makes them look worse so that she can look better. That's a whole nother can of worms though, we'll get to it, don't worry. Whoopsie. One channel that criticizes Mikayla Nogueira in a way that I actually appreciate is CC Suarez, who you might know if you're, you know, a part of this discourse at all. She's been quite vigilant in terms of finding things that are like obvious usage of filters and Photoshop, but she does not make the fatal error of calling her ugly like some arseholes do.
All of these were taken within like a month or two of each other. Or hey, the same night. This one, the same night. This is her footage versus the brand that she was working with that night, or that was hosting the event that she went to. Like what is going on here? And then here's some other ones from when she was recently in LA. I believe it was like last week or this past weekend. And then she went to Vegas. And here's one that she posted.
Oh my god. Mate, look how fucking tiny her head is. Is this woman made out... Either she's made out of Play-Doh. Maybe she's not using filters and she is just genuinely made out of Play-Doh. And depending on the way she sleeps, her head size changes. But everything's just different. But yeah, some of these usages of filters, it's almost like she wants to get caught and this is all just rage bait, which honestly wouldn't surprise me because this woman here is like an actual rage bait queen.
Like, yes, can you make yourself look different with shadows and highlighting and how you're doing your makeup? Absolutely. But again, that does not apply here because this person and that person, not the same person. One thing I do think is interesting is that someone posted like, oh, here's the difference between like the photo she posted and then the photo her friend posted. And Mikayla was like the same in both photos, it looked like. But then when you go over to, you know, the other one or whatever, then like you can see a bunch of edits, but you can't see any edits on her. So I think what maybe, all speculation, what she does is that she will have whoever take the photo like with her phone and then she'll edit it. Like she'll edit herself and then send the picture out to like whoever. And it's like, okay, here you go. Here's the picture. Which, like, girl, that's too much time.
Here's more just blatant filtering. I mean, if you look at her shins in that first one where the filter's been applied, you can see that they're just so different. Maybe she's the master of one-legged squats, but the more likely scenario is that she's just faked it again. Here's yet another one, which, honestly, this is like the best example of what I meant in terms of, like, she looks totally fucking fine without the filter on. Like, in that picture she's taken with the fan on the right there, she looks fucking like normal woman. Like, there's nothing wrong with it at all. But the fact that she presents herself as the one on the left, and that's how she seems in all of her TikTok videos, is just a clear example of why it's useless to compare your bodies to the people that you see online, because you just never know what's going on there. And even if you know for a fact that they're not using filters, they're not using Photoshop, and they do just genuinely look fucking Greek godlike, it's still not worth comparing yourself to them, because most of those individuals have a full-time job that involves looking like a Greek god. You might not be able to work out as much as you want because you have a 9 to 5. Their 9 to 5 is working out. Here's a fucking brilliant video actually by a creator called Sarah Puto that I want to show you real quickly.
Glance, you might look at me and think, wow, I wish I looked like her, but I don't actually look like this. This is what I actually look like. Please don't compare yourself to what you see online. You never know what's real and what's not. And video editing exists nowadays. You can edit your body in videos to look like this and move around. Or even if there isn't any body editing in the video, people can pose and position their clothing and I could look like this.
Here's another one where it looks as though Mikayla lives in fucking Topsy-Turvy. You have Topsy-Turvy over there in America? Topsy-Turvy is that place that, like, 6-year-olds would go for their birthday over here. I don't even know if they still exist anymore, but either way, it looks like she's in one of them, like, mirror joints. Everything in her room is, like, bent, like she's a fucking black hole, and everything is angled towards her. But when you fix the angles a little bit, straight in the door frame, straight in the photo frames, you can see what she actually looks like here. But look, even with all this, even with the lies about the filters and her doing this to herself without, you know, being upfront about it to her audience, and all the potential harms that can come with people comparing themselves to her, not knowing this information, if we put all that aside, there is still a way to justify it and feel really sorry for her, which I feel like is a reasonable thing to do, because this all comes from a place of not feeling good enough, and that is something to feel empathy towards. The issue is, however, when other people are being harmed as collateral because of this insecurity. It doesn't make the insecurity any less sad, but it does make you more of a prick for trying to fix it this way. If we look at this picture, for example, that she took with Selena Gomez, at first glance, like a lot of her pictures, it looks totally fine, but then when you take the filter off, because yes, there is a filter on this, all of a sudden Mikayla looks a little bit bigger, as usual, but Selena looks a lot smaller. Which, again, this would be one thing if it was like a fan with 400 followers who just wanted to show off to their friends that they met Selena Gomez, but Mikayla Nogueira, who has millions of followers on her Instagram and has a lot of people, a lot of crossover with Selena that are going to see this photo, with the knowledge that Selena Gomez in particular is someone who has been bullied relentlessly for their fluctuating weight because of their lupus. Doing something like this and making them look bigger so that you yourself can look smaller to appease your sense of self-worth is genuinely a huge dick move. Like, this is straight up harmful as fuck. Like, I'm sure Selena would not have taken this picture with you if she knew what you were going to do to her. I don't know why I keep calling her Selena like she's my mate we go down pub with. We're not on first name fucking basis. She even edits, like, her tiny babies to look bigger and fatter to make her look better as well. See, on the left you can see the baby with the filter, and on the right, the one without the filter. This one on the left here is a special feature from this child with the longest fucking legs ever. So either once again, Mikayla Nogueira has used a filter and been dishonest about it, using her actual babies as collateral, or she's given birth to Tyson fucking Fury. That's not a joke from my audience, so in anime terms, she's given birth to whatever these fucking things are. I'm sure you'll know, you freaks.
I want you to type in 90s yaoi hands.
What does that eat? What fucking language is? Well, I guess it's Japanese. I tried to watch One Piece, but I couldn't do it because their hands were too big and it really bothered me.
You should watch
I watched I watched like 10 Akira. Everyone tells me to watch Akira. 90s, yeah. What the fuck is this? What is this? What is this? Mate, is that meant to be sexy? Whoa! What the fuck? Why do they look so is this normal? Alright, this is getting like ridiculous now. What do you want for lunch? And it's just a big fucking hand. Why are his eyes? What is, mate, this is why I can't get into anime.
No.
I'm not about this life.
Not all of it's like that.
Anyway, Mikayla sent quite an annoyed message to all of her fans because of this talk about her filters. You'll love to spread misinformation. They are both a 26, not a 31. Why does it matter so much what size I wear? I fit into a 26 because I'm 4'11 and 130 pounds. I'm done talking about this. The conversation around my body weight is ridiculous. Now, usually, with any other influencer, I would agree. Why are you fucking weirdos talking so much about somebody else's body weight that has no effect on you at all? Yous are all being very strange, but here is like the one exception to that rule, because she's making it a talking point by being so deceptive about it all. If she was just honest about her use of filters, or ideally didn't use them at all, then I would agree with this, because people have no right to speculate about your body weight. That shit's fucking weird and invasive. So anyway, that about does it for like the proof that she uses filters and Photoshop and all that. As we carry on with the video, she hasn't changed this trend or habit of hers, so I'm sure you'll notice that she's still using it. But I just wanted to get some of the most egregious ones out the way first, especially her usage of them in photos involving other people as well, because in my opinion, those are by far the worst ones. Next is the vocal filter that she uses, but it's like she fakes her voice. I don't know where I was going with that flowery fucking metaphor. She fakes her voice. So like first, we'll just play a regular video to get you all up to speed with the normal the normal quote-unquote Mikayla Nogueira that she presents herself as.
Babby pink shade immaculate. I love him with all my heart. I just haven't been able to pat with any of my Chanel makeup PR boxes. In whatever way I can be of support.
Or the really famous one that I'm sure you all have heard but don't know who was behind.
Kim Kardashian, Kim Kardashian, Kim Kardashian.
Totally normal boss. When you go to New York, it's just a cacophony of fucking Kim Kardashian. That's what all New Yorkers sound like.
No, I want you to genuinely try it.
No, fuck off. I'm not trying it. I don't want to upset the New York audience. I've got actually quite a lot of audience in New York. Thank you, New Yorkers, for watching this video. And for your sake, I'm not going to attempt the Boston accent. But yeah, this sort of voice, her quirky wee voice, is like that is the thing. The number one factor, in my opinion, that has propelled her to TikTok stardom. If she spoke like just a sort of standard American accent that everyone's heard, I don't think she would be half as popular as she is now, right? People are drawn in by her fucking weird accent. Surprise, surprise, it's all an act.
Hi, it's OL Mikayla here, and I am standing in the Fisher Student Center, one of the best buildings on campus. I actually work here at the Information Center, so I'm sure you'll be seeing me around, but this is one of my favorite buildings.
It's so fucking different, it's actually unbelievable. Does she do that Boston accent at like meet and greets or if you met her on the street or in a shop, would she talk like this, like the real way, or would she talk like Boston? Or maybe she's conditioned herself to speak like a freak for so long now that she genuinely cannot stop herself from talking that way, so like that might just be her actual accent now. Or maybe she hit her head, like, you know that person who got into a car accident and all of a sudden they had a Chinese accent? That might have happened with Mikayla. It would explain a lot. She fakes her fucking appearance, she fakes her voice. What else does she fake? Well, yeah, a lot. Pretty much everything on her. If she told you something, you would be better off, safer, to assume that it was a lie than it was the truth. This woman could tell me that the earth isn't flat, and all of a sudden, my preconceptions of anything related to science will go in the bin. If she told me that life was beautiful and worth living, I'd probably kill myself the next day, because I don't trust her.
You can come here to hang out with your friends, study, grab a bite to eat. There are lots of offices in this building, such as the PwC, Center for Diversity and Inclusion, and there's so much you can do in this building. I highly recommend spending your time here when you become a student at Bryant, and I really look forward to seeing you all.
That's so mental. Like, she just sounds like so nice and normal and cordial there. I personally would prefer, her TikToks would be a lot easier to watch if she just spoke like this the whole time. But we gotta remember, man, she is the fucking ultimate rage bait. To be fair, I am open to the possibility that maybe she is sort of masking her real accent, and this is to sound a little bit more professional. I remember I sounded super different when I was growing up, and my parents forced me to like speak a little bit more posh because they knew it would be like better for job opportunities in the future, because unfortunately London is like extremely classist. But I think we can pretty definitively say that the current accent that she does in her TikToks is absolutely more fake than this one ever could potentially be. No one fucking talks like that. And when you scroll on her TikTok, every now and then she lets the real voice sort of slip a little bit.
Eyes are blank, up to her creative, whatever. Why do I get nervous about this kind of shit?
It's the whatever in particular there. It just sounds so much more normal. It's like, you know when you're watching cartoons and there's like a body swap episode or like a mind control episode where someone enters someone else's mind or whatever, and it's like, oh, now I have complete control of your body, but the MC is always just so mentally strong and powerful that they can sort of break out of the illusion, so to speak. And the villain's like, what? How are you doing this? How are you... It's like in every fucking show. Mikayla Nogueira has been taken over by the spirit of Joe Pesci, and every now and then, normal American lassie comes out. Here's what a normal Boston accent sounds like, by the way, just for reference.
Seen her most recent video. We have to have a chat, okay? Her accent, like, nobody has that accent. It seems like anything she says is so forced. Market basket. It's market basket. Kim Kardashian. It's Kim Kardashian. And I know this girl has a massive, like, cult-like following. The accent, we need to tone it down. Just, like, have a regular voice. It's fine.
Obviously, my immediate family immigrated to London, but everyone else in my family pretty much immigrated over to New York, the Boston area. So they have, like, these really weird Arabic Boston hybrid accents. It's pretty fucking sweet, like, if you heard it. But, like, I'm actually around the Boston accent relatively sort of, what's the word? Often? Fuck, why was it so difficult for me to think of that? Because obviously their kids are just pure Boston. Here's a voice note that she sent into a fan group chat where the accent is just gone, so I guess she can't be asked to do it all of the time.
So, 3,000 people were able to enter, which is like way less than normal because of the crashing. Because obviously we have about 35,000 new people in here because y'all keep spreading the word on how to enter, which I don't blame you.
She still kind of does sound a little bit like Trump now, but nowhere near to the extent that she usually does.
Oh, hi. Do you have a face full of acne and you just can't seem to figure out how to cover it up? Watch this. I've been able to trick people into thinking I have no acne at all with these 3 products.
This is the thing, man. Like, the extent to which she fakes her voice is just another brick in the wall of distrustworthy things about Mikayla Nogueira. Like, if this woman puts anything out, any product, any sort of endorsement of a company, it just shouldn't be trusted because she is one of the fakest fucking people on the internet. Everything about her is artificial. That's subtle foreshadowing, by the way, because anyone who's familiar with this woman knows that she does put a lot of products out later, and to put it lightly, it does not go well. Speaking of which, here is the first example of false advertising in the legal... Like, this is just a straight-up crime, what she does here.
Long and lengthened, my lashes.
This literally just changed my life. This looks like false. This is how? What?
This is insane. What has happened right here has changed my... She sounds like Peter Griffin if he ate 5 lemons. Sorry, back to the video.
It's this L'Oreal telescopic lift. Look at the wand.
Sorry, I keep pausing. She really does sound like fucking Peter Griffin, doesn't she? It just sounds like a bad impression.
Okay, so basically I'm taking the curved side and I'm going root to tip and I'm starting to coat the lashes. And then once you've done that, you flip the brush to the side and you use the hook comb to basically separate. This is one coat. Okay, I'm gonna add a second. Look at the length. Do you see that? Anyone's gonna ever be able to compete with this mascara.
So obviously that video there is a brand deal with L'Oreal, as you can see by the description, where in accordance with the law, she does disclose that it is in fact a brand deal, which is also probably why she hasn't deleted this video despite the insane amount of backlash that she got, and like, to put it bluntly, the expose of the crimes that she committed here. Now look, I don't mean crimes as in like fucking war, she hasn't killed anyone or anything, but it is like false advertising is a crime in a case like this, where this video has 63 million views. So if she was to fake anything here, that is 63 million potential customers who have been fooled by false advertising, which is a big deal. Especially when your entire brand is like, you know, beauty-centered and being an influencer and this type of thing. So obviously the whole point of the mascara is to make it look as though your lashes are just so nice and luscious and beautiful. It almost looks as though you have fake lashes, but you don't, right? That's the whole point. Wouldn't it be really fucking bad if she just wore fake lashes and said that the L'Oreal was the reason that they looked like that? So if you look here, there's just very obvious clusters and false lashes that are pretty fucking undeniable. Like, there's no way. It's just so obvious. Like, once again, it makes me wonder if she wanted to be caught doing this so that she could, like, stir controversy up and be talked about more. But you can't do that shit when you're sponsoring an actual brand in a real brand deal. Like, it's just not on the table. If this wasn't a legit brand deal, yeah, it would still be, like, very dodgy behavior, but it wouldn't be illegal. Wait, are you not wearing falsies at the end? No! Oh my god, L'Oreal would never allow that in a partnered post. Sorry, patented post. But you're proving my point. She's laughing. She finds it hilarious that people would think she would ever stoop so low. But me personally, I've never worn fake lashes, so you can tell me if I'm wrong, but it seems pretty fucking clear cut from that picture there. I mean, come on, look at that. This was her official response to that drama, I get. This was like a huge deal at the time. The 63 million views should probably tell you that, but this was fucking massive at the time. You've probably all heard of it, but if you haven't, then welcome to the club. I'm glad we could experience this together, my friend.
Alright, this drawer you can choose a liquid eyeliner and a mascara.
Ooh.
Ah, wise guy, eh? Lord help me.
I just hate how scripted like, it's just so obvious that before they recorded, she was like, just pick that one out, it's gonna be fucking hilarious, lol, funny, epic, ruffle, innit? She sounds like them old-fashioned, like, 1920s fucking mobsters. It's just so fake, like, everything about this woman is insanely fake, artificial, and because the thing is, most TikTokers are fake. If a TikTok video is faked, or artificial, or just not real in any way, shape, or form, or an account even is predicated upon false promises, or just things that aren't reliable, it's not a shock to me. But the sheer amount of, if you told me this whole account was fucking AI, I think I'd honestly believe you. It's as though there's like a social experiment, like just teetering on the edge of so fake that they have to be taken down for some legal reason. I would sooner trust Richard Nixon during Watergate than Mikayla Nogueira at any point in time. Here's another, like, eyelash mascara review where she just switches mascaras in the middle of the review.
Flexible wand. Supposed to give a nice flat effect. Okay, that before and after, it's pretty freaking good.
To be fair, I think the original has been deleted, which isn't a good look, but I can't verify it by checking the original. It might have just been a video where she was comparing two, like, eyelash mascara things. Sorry, you can tell I'm a fucking straight bloke, can't you? Eyelash mascara thing. You guys must be fucking cringing right now. My bad, by the way. If it's any consolation, I think that period pain is bad. And if you're on your period right now, I hope that this video is sort of soothing you. I'm willing to bet a lot of people watch these videos to try and distract them from their period pain. Like the video if you're watching to distract yourself from the period pain.
Flash is totally fake. So I just lied straight to your face. And you probably believed it.
No, she's just admitting that she has the ability to fake eyelashes really easily. She's so proud of the fact that she's like a deceptive wee weasel. But she's also explaining it in a way of like we don't already know? It's like, we know that you are willing to lie about anything and everything to get what you want out of your career. Even, by the way, if that involves hurting small businesses for no fucking reason whatsoever. Here's a video.
I bought that shit immediately. Hey, don't quote me on this. Apparently she uses Vaseline when she does those long swatches to make it do that. I'm excited to try this. Here's the palette. Very pretty colors. The famous shade right here. So if I, swatch the famous shade right here, just regular, wow, that's beautiful. But it won't go like the way it does with hers because it doesn't have the Vaseline.
You hurted my business. And this is what I keep on have to be doing. So people can see that you are the liar and not me.
Bro, this is like some fucking Darth Vader level speech to introduce this video where you're calling Mikayla a lot. I should do my videos like this. Ash Trevino, you are the Nunu. And I'm here to prove to you that Nunu is a no-no. People might be wondering, how do it smell? Well, honey, I'm so sorry. Only Santos knows. But apparently, it smelled pretty well. You've ruined the take by talking over it. I'm leaving that in, because honestly, that was a piece of history right there. I can't read it. Fuck! Everything keeps ruining the take. My phone just went off. It was the spam fucking look fantastic Gmail thing.
I didn't use Vaseline. It was that easy to swash. You know you're wrong for that. You know your name.
I mean, she was so deceptive about this. She was so deceptive about this woman. Her name's Yolanda Salmon's company. It's almost as though she had shares in a different makeup company and was trying to destroy the other competitors so that she could make more money. Fuck, that'd be awful if she was doing that. Yeah, I mean, you guessed right. This was back when she had like a huge collaboration thing going on with a glam light company, or a makeup brand called Glam Light, which a lot of people perceive to be like a complete shill makeup company. I mean, once again, it's just a straight up scummy, dishonest, scammy thing to do. Like, you can't be doing that shit. I'm sure if you searched hard enough and got Saul Goodman on the case, there are a couple laws being broken here as well. So big up Yolanda Salmon for standing up for herself and having a fucking cool ass surname, Salmon. Jesus Christ, that's epic. The next drama in the whole Mikayla Nogueira saga was her wedding, which a lot of people thought was just a brand deal, basically. Which, yeah, pretty much has been confirmed to have been just like a big brand deal. So even her wedding, like the most sanctimonious day of any young couple's life, was just a big brand deal. Everything this woman does is for money and TikTok. Like, you couldn't even have your fucking wedding. But look, at the end of the day, this originally was going to be a long section, but in the middle of like compiling these TikToks, I sort of realized like, who actually gives a fuck about this drama? A lot of people were acting as though it was like this huge sort of news of the week type thing. Like, Lashgate is what people were calling the eyelash drama, and the filters and such, but, you know, those involve other people and they harm other people. Her wanting to make her wedding a brand deal ultimately does not affect anybody, and if her and her husband were okay with it, ultimately, that's all that matters. That being said, it is very, very funny how she is so insistent that it was not a branded wedding, when it very obviously was a branded wedding. Like, look at all these influencers who made get-readies with me just to go to a wedding. You got James Charles, Dylan Mulvaney, a hairstylist influencer called Matt, Madison Ann, Patrick Starr, Amira, another influencer, Sydney. I mean, if you ever want to kill the happy vibes that usually come out of weddings, then fucking invite James Charles.
Not only did I find my wedding lip combo, I created it. I'm so excited to finally be able to share with you my marriage material lip duo in partnership with Elf Cosmetics. Here's the story.
Yeah, I'm not going to show you this whole video, but she's in her wedding dress promoting, like, it's just so obviously a branded wedding. Do you reckon she was doing her vows, like, with the fucking till death do us part? I want to see a fucking video of that now, just to know if she did the accent. I mean, if you wanted further proof that it was in fact a branded wedding, you got this lassie, Samantha, who Mikayla had only met like once in person. For some reason, decided to make her the maid of honor at the wedding. I don't know anybody who has made their fucking Discord friend, basically, the maid of honor at their wedding. Imagine being like an actual childhood, long-time best friend of somebody, only for them to invite their Discord kitten as their best man or the maid of honor.
Your focus should be on making their day special. And if I was too consumed with my own looks, that would have, you know, that's not being a good maid of honor. Aw, thanks, Shen.
Oh my god, Shen donated to this girl. He's fucking dangerous. He'll kill your whole family if you don't watch Kung Fu Panda 2. You know what? I was about to say that I wouldn't put it past people who are into that big hand yaoi bullshit to invite their Discord kitten as the best man. I was about to, like, hardcore make fun of those people, but then I sort of just clocked I made a fucking Kung Fu Panda 2 reference to the most unnecessary reference ever, so I really have no room to talk. But anyway, we'll move on from this drama if you really want to call it that. I think it's petty as fuck. Like, who actually cares if the wedding was branded? As long as they were happy, it's all good, right? None of our business. So this is where Mikayla releases her own skincare brand known as POV Beauty. Dermatologist test. I mean, it's a skincare brand. I would fucking hope so. That's like making dog food and then marketing it by going, by the way, we tested this food on actual dogs. Yeah, I would hope that you tested it on dogs and not fucking cats or humans. Vegan and cruelty free. So it's free of cruelty and it's free of vegans. So they've not taken vegans, mashed them up into, like, dust, and used them in the... I know what she's talking about. It's just, I'm being a dick. Sorry, we'll move on. Fermented rice, fermented ginseng, fermented adelaide, fermented potato. I'm not a dumb... Maybe these are perfectly normal, legitimate ingredients. I wouldn't know, but it's fermented potato. Drench it, drip it, whip it, glaze it, amp it, bop it. There's no men on these, on the website. You know, if I was one of them, like, really annoying TikTokers, I'd be like, this... You know the ones I'm talking about. Just that fucking impression. You know what I'm talking about. Although I will say, there's a legitimate gap in the market there. You know, just put one man on there. You know, open the gates to men using your skincare, in my opinion. Who am I to tell you how to market your brands, Mikayla? But me personally, I would have put at least one bloke in there. I mean, if you're looking, I'm here. Although when I look at the reviews of this skincare, I'm not sure that I want to endorse it too much.
much better.
Did they just forget to color correct this bit?
Are you critiquing the editing, really?
Well, I'm just saying, like, fucking James Charles is the top comment. The packaging! But then when you look at the packaging, it's just like... Is it just packaging? I don't understand what's so beautiful about it. It's not ugly, but it's just packaging? He's freaking out like it's the second coming of Jesus, but it's just a white bottle with some words on it.
Wait, that one might be interesting. Like, that might be, like, how you apply it. Like,
Amp it. Oh, that's like armpits. They fucked up there with the wording. I don't want armpits on my skin.
You don't want to... No, I'm not even gonna...
If someone rubbed their armpit on your skin, it wouldn't be nice, would it?
I don't think you want your face glazed either.
Glaze it. Yeah, these are all very strange, aren't they? I also don't want to be whipped. I feel like that's racially motivated, Mikayla. It's the one in the middle as well. I can honestly, it's like I've never made eye contact with a bit of packaging before, but I feel like you've set it up so that me specifically sort of gets the message from that. Well, I don't appreciate that at all.
I wanted point of view to be different. My inspiration for the brand came from my days working in beauty retail. Every day, I inspired people to discover their own point of view when it came to their beauty journey. And while I
just fuck off. Like, all right, just a bit. Let's just fucking get it straight. Let's get the facts straight here. This is not her company. It's a company that probably reached out to her and went, "Can you just be the face of our fucking bog standard skincare company because we need a big influencer to sort of lead." It's like Prime, right? It's like KSI and Logan Paul are not in the factory manufacturing Prime like fucking science. They're just the faces of it. I don't even know if Mikayla's like the CEO of this company. You know what? It doesn't really matter, right? What matters is the quality. We should not judge point of view by the color of its packaging, but by the quality of its character. Now, it said made in Korea on the website, which I guess makes sense with all the ginseng. But apparently, she's actually quite deceptive with like the links that this skincare brand actually has to Korea. Because we all know that Korean skincare, there's a lot of hype surrounding it. So it makes sense that she'd want to cash into that market, but not by lying. Well, to be fair, it's nothing new.
Made in Korea with a potent blend of Korean-inspired ingredients.
So Mikayla just launched her new skincare brand called Point of View. She's really highlighting the fact that it's made in Korea with a potent blend of Korean-inspired ingredients, worked alongside Korean chemists, packaged by Korean hands. And so now people are calling it Korean skincare. And as someone who is a K-beauty content creator, it got on my radar and I'm like, no, this is not considered Korean skincare. And you might say, Mikayla never called it Korean skincare. But when you have Mikayla, the brand founder, liking comments like this is so exciting, not only a skincare brand, but a Korean skincare brand, Elite, and even responding with fire emojis. All of the comments thinking that it's Korean skincare, liking, commenting. It conveys this message that, yes, this is a Korean skincare line.
Yeah, like, what does Korean-inspired ingredients even, like, fucking mean? I'm gonna make a skincare brand with Egyptian-inspired ingredients, and it's just hummus. You put hummus on your face, and hopefully that does something. Korean-inspired you can't just put ginseng, like, as a prefix to a different word, and go, there you go, it's Korean now. What if we take this potato and make it Korean and then use it in skincare? It's like how Batman just puts bat before everything, but you can't do the same with Korean.
So we have reached the under 1% line because, guys, everyone, come on, I think everyone knows this, right? Peptides are in a formula at such a stupidly low concentration, they will never make it up to the top of an ingredient list. So we have reached the part of being just under the 1% line, and now we can start to rearrange things. I have a bias to the owner, but I have a bias when it comes to formulas that I would never purchase this because this is just bold face, like I'm going to manipulate you and tell you that the peptides are in at a high level, but it's very common knowledge that peptides are not in at a high level. Like all peptides are going to be at the bottom of the ingredient list. And yes, some people might move it up a little bit here or there, but never to the top. This is just, I would look at this and I would think this is a scam. I'm so, like, this is where my bias comes in because I have a bias when it comes to formulas.
I would not put something with this many chemicals on my face. Or maybe I do with the current skincare. Is this normal for skincare brands? There's the potato extract. I guess it's comforting that it's less than 1%. Anyway, by this point, we all know that Mikayla has a thing for fucking over smaller businesses, and apparently, this is just another one that you can add to the long list of businesses that she's hurt. There is a high likelihood that this POV brand is just completely plagiarized. So recently, a small brand in Quebec, Canada came out and spoke out against the release of POV, basically vocalizing their grievances and how similar it looked to their product. Obviously, it's in French, so I can't read it until it's translated, but I can make a pretty good guess at what the title says without translating it, because I know a bit of French. I'm guessing it says betrayal, sadness, anger, humiliation, and heartbreak. I honestly don't mean to be that impressive, guys. It just comes out naturally. J'adore be flip. This is how I feel right now about the launch of Mikayla's brand. I feel like someone has just shaved off both... Oh, a sword. Shaved would not be a big... Like, that would not be a big deal. I feel like someone has shaved my legs. I feel like someone has just sawed off both my legs. That my greatest pride has been stolen. In short... Well, you would be pretty sure if someone sawed your legs off, to be fair. I feel like someone has sawed off both my legs and my Honestly, you can put the French and the Nigerians, like, top of the totem pole when it comes to coming up with, like, incredible imagery for vocalizing how upset they are at a certain situation. No one tops those two cultures, man, I'm telling you. There are some that come close, but, like, no one tops them. I don't have the words to describe how helpless I am. It's been almost a year since the brand was created, and to see that someone took your name, your concept, when you have invested all your savings, your passion, and much more. I don't know how to react or what to do right now. It saddens me to an unimaginable extent. How can we do this to a small, queer Quebec business that doesn't even have the means to defend anything? And this is their website here, POV by Sam. Affordable, inclusive, vegan, queer CEO. So these guys, unlike Mikayla's brand, do include vegans in their recipe. So it's not a complete copy. Now, as someone who's not too clued up on how business works, there is a chance that, in my silly, naive mind, POV as like the name of a beauty brand is not the most outlandish or creative name on the planet, in my opinion. It is possible that they both just came up with the same name. I will say, though, they definitely have Googled, like, POV brands before and knew that this one existed, but just didn't care enough to change the name of the brand that they wanted to make. I'm sure if they lived in Quebec, they wouldn't have been able to do it because of copyright laws in Quebec. There's already one named it, you know what I mean? But in the US and the UK, I think it's all just fair game. Otherwise, they wouldn't have, they wouldn't have been able to do it. I also, to be fair, I'm going to give Mikayla some credit and say that I highly doubt she knew that POV was like a small brand in Quebec. It was probably just the actual people responsible for the initial creation of the company. Mikayla, as just the face of it and the one who chats shit about how great it is every now and then, probably had no idea. I'll tell you though, one thing POV by Sam has over Mikayla's product is that they actually receive the fucking products that they order. With Mikayla, however, the same cannot be said for a lot of people. So here's a load of people in the comments basically expressing their displeasement with they haven't received the actual products that they've ordered. With this one in particular, they literally say that they got their order, but they didn't receive one of the items that they ordered, and POV Beauty responded, "We love to hear it." I guess that's their MO. They love it when their customers don't receive what they ordered. Apparently there was a post later on stating that this initial release was just for pre-orders, which was not, communicated with the customers at the initial time. Which, I mean, needless to say, is fucking outrageous. Like, they should know what they're putting their money into. Bro, there's so many people who just haven't received their fucking orders. This is insane.
It's now been a week and a half, no sign of my order shipping. A couple days ago, I saw that a mutual follower of mine was having the same experience. She reached out and she got this email. Well, I reached out as well and I got the exact same email. It sounds like what happened was they did not cut off ordering as quickly as they should have. And that meant that some orders went through when they were actually already sold out. So if you have also placed a POV order and you're like, it's taking a long time, I bet this is what happened. I am personally planning to respond to this email and give a little bit of feedback because while I totally understand this is a brand new brand, there's going to be hiccups. What I don't think is okay is that the customers are the ones who are having to send messages and emails to figure out that this is going on.
I mean, that sums it up pretty well, to be fair. Sorry for not giving this creator credit, but for some reason, the Reddit likes to cut off their usernames and their heads, apparently. But at the end of the day, I almost feel as though it's on you slightly for actually trusting Mikayla and buying into her products. You can't even trust how she sounds, how she looks, what she promotes, what she demotes. Nothing about her is trustworthy. If you bought from her, then you are the fool to an extent. Like, I would say 10% you are the fool. It's like buying a book from me titled The Third Trimester and What to Expect. If you buy a book with that title written by Dankyjabo and you don't get all the information that you wanted and it's a bit badly written and has some wrong information, I'm sorry, lass, but that is on you. When people finally did receive their orders, they were shocked to find that their skin had more breakouts after using the product.
In my skincare routine is POV Beauty. And like, I'm even wearing this right now, and I have breakouts around my lips. Even if you go watch like my other videos using this same filter over the last week to 2 weeks, my skin does not look like this. My skin is so inflamed, so irritated.
Now, to be completely transparent, I have heard from veritable sources that apparently when you start using skincare, breakouts are actually pretty fucking normal because your skin isn't used to the skincare, be it like all the products, the chemicals being used on your bastard face. The whole point is that you're meant to do it consistently, and within a few weeks or something like that, it'll get used to it and your skin will be better than ever. I can say from first-hand experience that that is how it worked with me. So I don't know if this is I don't know if this is necessarily the fault of POV itself or if I'm misinformed, but it's certainly not a good look. And fucking, who am I? Like, I'm sure this is a girl who has used skincare for a majority of her life. Like, she knows what she's talking about, but I've heard other things. The common opinion, though, is that it just really didn't make much of a difference at all.
POV, my point of view order for Mikayla. Finally, after a month. I don't think I'm gonna post my review video because I don't know, my makeup didn't look any different. My skin doesn't look any better. I mean, it looks the same. I don't know, maybe I just did it wrong, but I followed the directions. I did everything in order. I did my makeup like I always do, and I don't know. I don't know. For me, it wasn't no different than, you know, using my normal moisturizer and my normal e.l.f. primer. And I'm not like, this isn't like a I hate it video because I'm not speaking negatively at all. Just for me personally, it's not anything special, really.
Yeah, this is probably where I stand. As someone who's not used it, I would assume that it's just nothing that special. It's just a completely bog-standard, ordinary brand, which is why they probably needed the help of a very recognizable face to, I guess, promote it. It's a shame that the product is so shit they could only get Mikayla Nogueira to promote it, because she's not exactly the most reputable brand ambassador. Now, look, there's a lot more that we can say about this POV beauty launch, but for now, I actually want to move on to the more current drama of Mikayla using her husband, who has just come out of rehab, for views and content, and is actually doing a lot of things that, for anyone who knows people who have just come out of rehab or people who are recovering addicts, the way that she is acting around this bloke is diabolical. But we'll get to that in a second. For now, there's some important context about how she talks about her own mental health.
I've just been rotting in bed and eating my feelings. Because your girl is mentally ill right now. It's not funny, but I don't really know what else to say. And in this—
So yeah, I mean, for a lot of last year, there was a huge chunk of her content that was pretty dedicated to her just sort of talking about how shit of a time she was having. And I'm not gonna sit here and, like, cast doubt upon her potentially having a bit of a shit time. I'm sure she was feeling a bit like shit. The whole internet fucking despises her. That cannot feel good, no matter whether or not you deserve it. I mean, at the very least, we know that she's horrendously insecure, and that is not a good thing. Like, that is something to feel sympathy for. So I guess part of her solution, or the way that she copes, is by documenting her feelings and making money off of it. She doesn't really like to point out, she doesn't really like it when people acknowledge that she is making money off of it, though.
And then you have the people that are like, oh, she's doing it for money. Y'all are sick. Y'all monetizing mental health? Ew. Y'all are so freaking sick for that.
But you are monetizing off your mental health. I don't know how it's fair for you to say that's sick, that people are saying that, when it's 100% true that you are making money off of the videos where you're being vulnerable about your mental health.
Yeah, exactly. Like, there's definitely an air. I'm not saying that the whole situation is fake, but there is an air of artificiality, if that's a word, surrounding this video, because, like, if you're sitting down to do a serious video about, like, some really dark feelings that you're having, why do you keep the fucking shite Boston Peter Griffin lemon accent up? If it's a more serious video where you want to be more honest with the people who watch you, fucking tone it down at least a little bit, or just be normal for once. But look, if you don't want to, and everything's just honest, and maybe that is your fucking real, whatever, right? At the base of it all, you are making money off of, I guess, vocalizing your trauma or your mental health. Like, you are monetizing it, it's just a fact. There's nothing necessarily wrong with making money off a video where you describe how shit of a time you're having at the minute. In fact, part of me even respects you being vulnerable about that, because as influencers, there's a lot of pressure to appear happy and epic all the time. So there is something in about the concept of what she's doing. I just don't think that she's doing it the right way. Some bloke called Rich Lux, who's apparently like one of Mikayla's biggest, most popular haters, if you want to call him that, made a response to Mikayla, because for whatever reason, of everyone criticizing her, this bloke here is the one that she decided to respond to.
Because people tear shit apart and are just fucking nasty. Yeah, I'm talking to you, Rich Lux. You're a piece of shit. Anyways.
First of all, we caught Mikayla in another lie. She's drinking milk. And she said, I don't like drink milk. You guys, you do not talk about Mikayla. You do not.
What is this fucking expose? What, like, who... I don't even know what to say to that. It's just so ridiculous. As though anybody who's on the fence about Mikayla has seen that and went, oh, okay, well that trumps it. You know what? I was on her side, but now that I know that she drinks milk, even though she said she didn't like it, this is unforgivable. I cannot believe she would fucking do such a thing. I genuinely don't know what to say. I have no words. I have no words. This guy's acting as though he's found fucking proof of God when it's just Mikayla drinking a pint of milk.
And I told you that she was gonna post a video right around the holidays, crying, get the sympathy vote, right? But I called it out, guys. I called it. First of all, I'm really quite shocked that Mikayla posted this video saying that this is the worst year of her life. Really? You went on a lot of vacations and paid sponsorship brand trips, unboxed a lot of luxury goods. I see you got a brand new BMW. Whatever happened, I feel so good about myself. I lost a lot of weight. This is the best year. I'm really feeling more self-confident. And then we get this.
I don't like this guy. I'm clicking off this video. He's a fucking weapon. He's like, oh, you're saying you've had a bad year, but you did so many things that involve a lot of money. It's like, you just don't know. You don't know this. You're not in her fucking shoes. You don't know this woman. You don't know what her life's like. You don't know what the relationship with her family's like. You don't know anything about her. All you know is that she has a lot of money. In fact, we now know, because of the next section on this video, which we'll move on to right now, that her fucking husband was in rehab for a lot of that year. Well, no, her husband went to rehab in December, which means for that year, he was struggling with a drug addiction, like a legit huge drug addiction. No wonder she wasn't having the best time. But you wouldn't know that, because as fake as she is, and like all this TikTok brain, and like she'd monetize her own mental health for money or whatever, even she wasn't sick enough to fucking, like, document her husband's insane drug addiction for the world to see. Like, she kept that secret like a normal person. You know, she struggled in silence. It's just so fucking narrow-minded to say, no, you went on a vacation and you have a lot of money, so you must be really, really happy. I fucking genuinely despise that mentality. Anyways, this is Mikayla and her husband, Cody. Some little tidbits that are important for context that I'll come back later. When they first got engaged, Cody sold his truck, which was like his most prized possession. He loved it to bits, to buy Mikayla a wedding ring.
Cody was so certain that he wanted to marry me that he sold the only thing he had, that truck, to buy an engagement ring.
As time went on and Mikayla started losing a lot of weight, without filters or anything, like genuinely, she's lost a lot of weight now, so good for her. Hopefully she's doing it healthily. But as she lost that weight, as happens with a lot of people, the ring stopped fitting her because obviously her fingers lost fat as well.
Because I lost 60 pounds, this ring is now humongous on me, and I either need to get it resized or a new ring, perhaps.
That'll be important later because she ends up just completely selling the ring instead of resizing it. Like, she just gets rid of it and buys a new one, which a lot of people have taken issue with because Cody, like, it has got sentimental value to Cody, and it's very unlikely that Cody knew she was actually doing that. But anyway, this next video is a very popular one, and it is a relatively vulnerable and fine video of Mikayla explaining the situation of Cody and his journey and how he's soon leaving rehab.
My husband Cody is in rehab, and I am ready to talk about it. Cody's story is not mine to share, but he has given me his blessing.
Like, it's not mine to share. Fuck off. Like, could you not give the harrowing story of your husband's drug addiction the grace of a normal voice for once in your fucking life, please?
By saying I am incredibly proud of Cody. It takes an immense amount of courage to give up your will and enter treatment, and I could not be more proud. As many of you have noticed, for the last several months, Cody really has not been around, and now you know why. A lot of you have put 2 and 2 together. Many of my longtime loyal followers, Cody being an addict is not news. He has shared his story openly on TikTok. Cody has struggled with addiction from a very young age, and I knew Cody was an addict when I met him. When I met him, he was living in sober living, and he had just gotten out of rehab. Understand, sobriety, recovery, is not linear. Addiction is a disease, and it's very complex, and unless you yourself or someone very close to you has struggled with addiction, it's hard to understand.
Now look, this video is pretty, like, apart from the fucking accent, and, you know, she's also using her beauty brand in this video, and she's showing her beauty brand to the camera. It's like a cylindrical object, but she's making sure that her brand is front and center every time she uses it, which is shady in a video like this, but whatever, right? I have a problem with the existence of this video to begin with. As much as she said that Cody has given her permission to share this story, which is fine if that is true, like that does make it better than not having his permission. In my opinion, it's not something that I would have done anyway. Even, like, I wouldn't have even asked for permission because I wouldn't have even thought in my wildest dreams about, you know, publicizing them leaving rehab, because all this does, in my opinion, realistically, is put so much, like, unnecessary pressure on him, because now he knows that 31 million people have seen this video. That's 31 million people who know that he has had an insane drug addiction, and now if he relapses, that is 31 million people who know that he's relapsed. That must be stressful as fuck. And look, I don't know the ins and out of the conversation they have. I don't know if she put pressure on him to say yes so that she could make this video. I don't know if it was completely amicable and that maybe he just didn't think of it. Maybe they did think of all the outlets and they were both completely okay with it. I really don't know, but all I can say for sure is that I personally would not have done this. But then on the other hand, I also understand, because a lot of people have been saying shit like, this is not your story to share, you shouldn't be, but she is, you know, his wife, and him going through this addiction and coming out of recovery, it is also partially her trauma. So I think that she does, in some ways, have the right to share it, as much as I personally think it's a bad idea and wouldn't have done it myself. I understand both sides here, which I know is, like, for some people, a boring centrist take, but I do get it. I'm not here to be an unfair dick about the whole thing, and there are some things later on that are just straight up shit. So for now, let's give her the grace of, like, understanding why she would want to do this in good faith.
Part of the recovery process. January 2024, my husband relapsed on drugs. In April 2024, my husband relapsed on alcohol. I am not new to addiction or addicts, but what I am new to is marrying one. And putting on a brave face the entire year of 2024 was the hardest thing I have ever done in my life. There's a reason addiction is known as a family disease, because it doesn't just impact the individual, it impacts everyone around them. 2024, I faced some of the scariest nights of my life.
This is all just true. Like, this is good. This is a good video apart from the accent and the branding. But other than that, it's a good video. Like, this is all good information, but it is also something you should keep in mind, because she doesn't exactly act as though this is true information she's spouting here later on, but we'll get to that, don't worry. She sort of acts against these words, if that makes sense.
I'm talking calling the police because I'm scared my husband's gonna die. To anyone who has had a spouse or a family member who struggles with addiction, you know what I mean when I say, I didn't know who that person was anymore. I felt like I had lost my husband. I figured I was gonna cry at some point in this. Addiction's really fucking hard, guys. Whether it's you facing it or the people around you.
You know what? In some ways, I really do appreciate the commitment to this Boston bit, even when she's on the verge of bawling.
I watched his addiction worsen, and it became so hard in our home, and
it's not a funny video, but it's just like it became so hard in our home. She's still doing the fucking accent while she's I don't think these are crocodile tears, because it is a traumatic story. But why are you doing the fucking accent, man? It's just, I can't fathom it. I don't understand.
I make the really difficult decision to remove Cody from our home. He ended up getting his own apartment, and I said, you need to figure it out.
I can't handle this video. Look, you get the gist. It's a sad video, and it's a relatively good video, especially in comparison to all of her other fucking videos. But we'll move on now. This video is quite a tonal shift, but it is about the same sort of situation.
He completed his 45-day treatment program, and I am getting ready to go pick him up, and he's moving back into our home. Coincidentally, today is also Cody's 27th birthday. I'm gonna be transparent about how I'm feeling about this. I am extremely fucking excited.
Why would you need to be transparent to say that you're excited? I'm sure people would believe you if you said you're excited to see your husband who you've not seen in 4 months. If you said, like, I'm gonna be transparent, I'm not that excited at all, really. I kind of liked it when he wasn't around. I would understand the warning of transparency. This is like if I said, like, you know what, guys, I ate a cake, and to be transparent, it actually tasted, like, quite nice. The transparency doesn't make sense unless I'm about to say something that contradicts what you think I'm gonna say. This is such a nitpick. I'll let her carry on, sorry.
Not fully been in my life since December. Cody's my partner and my best friend. I love him with all my heart.
With all your hat. It's not like that's not that much love.
With all my heart.
If I love my partner with all my hat, they'd be very... I don't even fucking own a hat, so there's nothing to love her with.
Quick lunch before I go pick up Cody from rehab. I have some peppers, cucumbers with tzatziki and the everything bagel seasoning, boiled eggs, these yellowish orange tomatoes, strawberries, pineapple, and a cheese stick with fat-free ranch. I'm literally so nervous, anxious, happy, excited that I could throw up right now, but I really need to eat something.
That looks fucking unreal, to be fair. I'm not even gonna criticize that. This is unreal. I will say, though, you can tell she's rich by the size of them fucking eggs. Every time I bring up eggs on this channel, you guys remind me of, like, how expensive they are in America. Those 2 eggs probably cost a fucking mortgage to most ears. This is her posting Cody's 2-month chip. Again, I guess if they spoke about this between themselves and agreed to do it, it's whatever, but, like, this is private information that I don't think we all need to know, and once again, just places so much unnecessary pressure on him. And from most addicts that I know who have gone to rehab, sharing your, like, progress pictures this early on to the public is, like, bad juju. It's one thing if you're, like, 10 years into recovery and, like, you know, it's like you can sort of tell people because there's very low risk of relapsing, or at least a much lower risk of when, you know, 2 months in. As much as it's their business and not ours at all, I'm still allowed to disagree with the methodology here. But here's where shit gets really, like, bad, in my opinion. Because as she said, and she was very correct in saying it, addiction is a family issue. If one person in the household is struggling with addiction, the whole household suffers because of it. However, if one person in the household is recovering from addiction, in that same vein, the whole household needs to recover similarly. So if one person is recovering from alcohol addiction, nobody in that household can drink alcohol. I know that might sound a bit alien or strange to people who haven't been around addicts in their life, or recovering addicts at least, but that is just how it fucking goes, or at least it's how it should go. Like, if you have a family member who you love dearly, who is recovering from alcohol, and they're really early into that recovery journey, you should do them the fucking courtesy of having no alcohol in the household and not drinking yourself, especially when you're around them. Yeah, it might suck if you like a drink every now and then, but you'll fucking do it if you love them. Mikayla disagrees with me, however, because since January 2024, where, by the way, let's remember, she said that Cody had relapsed, she has been drinking an insane amount in Las Vegas and in parties, these brand places. She drinks like a fucking sailor. A sailor. Like, if we look at all these instances here, it's insane. Like, there's so many. Yeah, and in my opinion, it's not acceptable to act this way when your husband is a recovering alcohol addict. Like, I just don't think that this is acceptable. And let's remember, these are only the times where she documented her drinking alcohol. And you might think, well, at least, like, you know, she's outside doing it, like, online, so maybe she's not doing it around him. But then when you look at videos with him that were posted recently, there's fucking wine bottles in the background. Like, this guy is a recovering alcohol addict. He relapsed. It was like a really bad addiction, according to Mikayla. They had to call the police because they were worried that he would die, and there's fucking wine bottles in the background. I know I usually don't like prying into other people's businesses. It's like a big thing on this channel, but this is just... I don't like it at all. I really don't think that I'm exaggerating or stepping out of line when I say that this should not be happening. I think that this is bad. If you truly love someone, then you quit drinking with them. Doesn't matter if he gives you permission to drink. You don't. You just don't. Mikayla is making it so difficult for this guy to actually, like, you know, carry on with the consistency, because she's publicizing every step of the recovery process, which puts so much pressure on him. And then there's just alcohol left, right, and center of this bloke's life, despite him needing to see anything but alcohol at this point in his life. It's just a bit grim. Sorry if you think I'm stepping out of line or getting a bit too personal here, but, like, I really disagree with it. Anyway, I think that about does it for this video. I went over all the big controversies in Mikayla Nogueira's, like, internet life. I don't think it's recency bias. I do genuinely believe that this recent one with Cody is by far the worst thing that she's done, at least directly to someone. Like, I'm sure the filters and all the lying about, like, the Photoshop or whatever has caused a lot of indirect damage to people, but in terms of, like, direct misbehavior or inappropriate behavior towards a certain person in her life, I think this is by far the worst. But it's subtle enough where most people won't catch it, but there's a lot of stuff there that I just really fucking don't vibe with. But either which way, hopefully you've enjoyed this video. Let me know if you like these more, like, deep divey sort of videos where I don't just cover the recent drama, but go through an entire person's, like, career or history, if that makes sense. Because if you do, then I'll probably do a bit more of these. But either which way, hope you all enjoyed. Be sure to subscribe to the channel, and I'll catch you all in the next one. And remember to use promo code Dankyjabo for 55% off of your first month using Scentbird. Smell good, please. Bye!